Welcome to Sarat Chandra IAS Academy, where your dreams are our mission. This is Yatharth here, and today we are going to discuss about recently conducted India's first national water body census. In this article, this is from where I have taken this article from The Hindu. So in this article, we'll basically be talking about what is a water body, what is the importance or significance of a water body, plus the significance of such a census, the water body census. Now, we'll also see how has the census thrown light on rainfall patterns. Now, the rainfall pattern is also an emerging theme in 2023, especially for our exam UPSC, that is, because of the La Nina and El Nino events. Because of the climate change, and because of the effect that it has drawn on the food security. Recently, we also recorded a video on this, on the hunger paradox of India. So this is all connected. If you can connect one thing to the other, then it becomes very easy for you to write an answer because you have plethora of information that you can display. All right. So we'll see various things in here. Let's discuss them one by one. So the finding of first ever water body census have been released. Now, the first and most important thing is it has been conducted by the Ministry of Jal Shakti. So please remember this first data, that who has conducted the census. The second thing is, what was the need for such a thing? So India is facing a water crisis with some factors such as groundwater decline. All right. Other things are biodiversity loss. These all are individual things, individual themes in themselves. Climate change. And the climate change especially is increasing the frequency of floods and droughts. That means climate change events. This is also a very important thing for this year prelims and mains. So in this context, water bodies are important. Now let's see what is the significance of water bodies. So they buffer against the climate variability. Climate variability. So these terms are also very important. In the last 2-3 videos, we saw many terms such as, let's say, constitutional morality. All right, in this video, we are seeing a term, climate variability. So all these terms also should be individually read, discussed, and made notes upon. They also hold flood waters for use in dry periods. Flood water storage. So these are the significance of the water bodies. You can note them down and use them in your answers. They contribute to food and water security. Security of the food and water. Along with that, what do they do? They secure the livelihood by recharging groundwater and providing water for irrigation. Let's say this is the water body. Here the water is being drained from rain or other sources. Then it goes into the ground and they provide the groundwater for the irrigation purpose, which leads to the production of food and which keeps people happy. All right, and working. So livelihood plus food security and water security. So these are various importances, significance of the water bodies, but they are also under threat. So let's see what are the threats to such water bodies. So threat from pollution. This is the first and foremost threat. Another threats are encroachment. Another threats are, let's say, urbanization and drying. So if you see the pattern in these three issues, they are most likely anthropogenic. Directly. This drying can be because of the climate change and global warming. So eventually this is also anthropogenic, but rather indirectly. So whether it is pollution, encroachment, urbanization, This is also because of the increasing load of the population. So we have already made a video on population. You can see that India's demographic potential. All right. So this is the basic thing about the significance, importance, and the threat faced by the water bodies. So as water bodies are managed by different agencies, let us see what was the need of this census. Why do we need a census? So at water bodies are managed by various different agencies, from let's say a state to let's say local or public water bodies or even private water bodies. All right, so they have various factors, various owners managing them. So it becomes very important for uniform and easily accessibility that data must be collected. Other such data are being, let's say, collected in Bihar right now about the caste census. So that is also a news you can read. In the same way, data also needs to be collected about the water bodies. So it is just same as whatever other censuses happen, such as let's say tiger census or elephant census. So whatever needs a policy in our democracy, whatever needs management, first prerequisite is data. So because of the data collection, this census has been done. All right. Other thing is, in order to manage them, we need contextual and traditional knowledge of communities, which are to be integrated with formal data. Data plus knowledge of communities. So that becomes an anthropological work or something that deals with anthropology, the knowledge of the communities that are using these water bodies. All right. One more thing, that some data is already available on the India's Water Resources Information System, that is WRIS. WRIS is Water Resources Information System. Now, why do we need extra data? Because of, let's say, the smaller changes plus other changes that might have happened or taken place in the water bodies as of a whole. So this is why we need extra data. All right. Let us now see the other thing, the other important thing, that how was this census done? So this is what you can indirectly use in your answer. Let's say how the emerging technologies have been used in making the lives of the common people better. So you can cite the example of this census, that a software was used which could process the spatial information. So these both are emerging technologies, and they were used by the government in order to facilitate more policy changes and management for betterment of the water bodies, which will be significant factor for driving livelihoods, groundwater enrichment, and other things connected to biodiversity and environment. All right. So this is how you can use this is in the answer. Other things are, sorry, what does this census show? What is it telling us? What are the observations? So first of all, it basically shows the spatial and temporal trends. So what does this mean? It simply means geographical, let's say, or place-based, and temporal means time-based. That where the water body, let's say, shifted, did it shrink from its original condition? Did it expand? All right, did it shift somewhere else? Did the river change its course? Instead of going here, it started going there. And along with the time, when did it happen? So these are the answers that the census has given us. Let us see the observations. So the first observation is that in India, most of the water bodies in country are very small. So what is this very small? Lesser than 1 hectare. 1 hectare means 100 by 100 meter area. Alright, so this is the first thing, and you can also note this down for your answer writing. This is a fact that you can use. Other thing is the water bodies show a paternal relationship with the rainfall. Such means that in drier states, let's say this is India. So drier states, let's say Rajasthan. So your water bodies are larger and more publicly owned. But in the wetter states like let's say Kerala, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, here the water bodies are smaller and privately owned. Smaller plus privately owned, most of the water bodies. Alright. In drier states, the water bodies are used mostly in the where irrigation. So this is very natural. Alright. While in the wet states, water bodies are mostly used for the domestic use and let's say pisciculture. So another meaning of livelihood, another means. Alright. One more thing which is very important in order to understand this is that most of the water bodies have never been repaired or rejuvenated. So they have never been repaired or rejuvenated. That means they are depreciating assets from whenever they were made. Okay, one more thing, let us see how could this census improve. So in the beginning we saw that water bodies are significant in terms of let's say ecology and harboring biodiversity. That means they support various lives, migratory birds and other things. But in the census, these functions were ignored. Only the functions that were related to humans, such as what is the water body utilized for in view of humans. So that was only seen. So focus was exclusively on the human use. So this was one thing that could have been better in this, let's say, census. It was mostly seen, let's say, what is happening with the water body, if it's irrigation or pisciculture. So only these things were noticed. So this was the challenges involved, let's say. Other thing is what went wrong with the census, that for the drying up water bodies, reasons were not stated. But it becomes important for us to read these reasons, that what could have been the reasons for the drying water bodies. So they are, let's say, industrial pollution. Again, pollution we are talking about. Eventually anthropogenic. Construction. One more important factor is salinity. So how excessive salinity affects a water body. So this is not a question of geography optional. It's a question of GS only. Alright, so you should see about this, that what is the capillary action, what happens when excessive salt is deposited on the land, how it affects the groundwater, quality of water and quantity of water, let's say. Okay. Other common reasons were eutrophication. That means excessive nutrient enrichment of the water. So this happens because of pollution of some kind. Alright, this you can read in the environment section. This eventually kills the species that live in water, make it a marsh and eventually dry it up. Alright, other things are sewage pollution and solid waste dumping. So we can see mostly pollution is the prime factor that is killing the water bodies. Alright. Let us see other things. One more issue with this census was that data was not standardized. That means the data for Karnataka and the data for, let's say, Rajasthan even if the water body's characteristics were same, the observations were different for these both datas. Observation was different. So why was this? Because it was manually checked by humans instead of the computers or something. That means the results were not standardized. So this was the issue here. Let's see other things that what could be improved possibly. So it becomes crucial that the government continues such a nationwide census of vital resources. Second thing is, the first edition itself provides high-level indications on the way forward by detailing ownership, that who owns these water bodies, then state of their use or utility, then cost of construction and repair. That means basically their management. So considering the resource as an asset, naturally depreciating asset, we should see on these three things: who owns them, what is their utilization, and what is the cost of management. Other things is, it points out how and why water bodies must be restored, which agencies' capacities need to be strengthened, and where and how much funds are needed, and who will benefit from such efforts. Okay, let's now see what is important for us from this example of this news. First thing is vital resources. So one of the vital resources is water or water bodies. Another is, let's say, forest. Another, let's say, our food crop systems. So this is all what we can relate to the communities, the culture, the regional, or in the more formal language, spatial and temporal changes. So all of these things are going through both these changes, whether spatial or temporal. So it becomes important for us to make a list of such vital resources. Second thing is connection. If we are unable to, still it's 2023, you see. So we have to develop our pattern of studying as per the requirement of the exam. So we are still taking, let's say, eutrophication as a separate phenomena, pollution as a separate phenomena, reading the course change or the drying off of rivers in the geography, physical geography, then seeing why they are owned by such communities publicly in the state of, let's say, drying states, in anthropology, seeing the cultural and communal changes attached in the anthropology, let's say, then it's not going to work in the same way. We can just read concept from here and then see how we can make a network between these things, how eutrophication leads to pollution, how we can stop this, what is the way forward, how it leads to geographical changes in the water bodies. So all these things should be read in cohesive manner or a cohesive manner. All the subjects should be read in a cohesive manner, and especially highlight those news or examples which connect many other. Now in this water census only, let's say, so we have used space-based data or satellite data in order to see what is the state of the water body. Alright, so this is emerging technology, this is ET. So you can use it in science and tech also. So these are the important news which we can read from this, let's say, these kind of news from the newspaper. Alright, so this was today's lecture. This is Yatharth here signing off. I hope you learned a lot from the lecture and understood how to carry on with the pattern, how to carry on with the notes. The first thing is the ability to recognize. Second thing is the ability to analyze. And third thing is the note making or curation. Alright, if you can do all these three things and reduplicate or reproduce them in the exam time, then your answer writing is going to be very perfect. So try this, practice these. Have a nice day, keep studying and be bright. Thank you very much. See you again.